football records. Today's special, we're in Leipzig, and we're telling the story of how RB Leipzig ascended to the Bundesliga. When German football legend Franz Beckenbauer met with Dietrich Mateschitz, the co-owner of Red Bull, he convinced them that their money should be invested in football if they really wanted to grow the brand as much as possible. Football is one of the most universally followed sports worldwide, and an investment into a football club would be a great base or foundation for both merchandise and product. Beckenbauer went on to elaborate, "I told him years ago that if you want to really be involved in sports marketing, you need to invest money in soccer." So the first step was I convinced him to put money in soccer. And yes, he came up with the idea to buy Austria Salzburg. What followed was a venture into multi-club ownership, with clubs now in New York, Salzburg, Bragantino, and at the forefront of the collective, RB Leipzig. The Red Bull brand is a powerful one. With a valuation of nearly 17 billion, they have taken over not just football, but extreme sports and F1 as well, which in the past 5 years has been on an advanced acceleration with fandom and pop culture worldwide. So when they decided to break into football, they had a plan to make it work. The purchasing of fifth-tier German side SSV Markranstadt was a catalyst for what would come in the world of Red Bull. As expected, the newly named RB Leipzig would fly through the divisions, and it wasn't long before they would be a Bundesliga side. 4 promotions saw RB Leipzig reach the Bundesliga within 8 years of their formation. But to break into a highly competitive top 4 would be no easy task, and challenging the juggernaut of Bayern Munich would lead to quite an adversary. But they are doing it, and this is how. Modern football has a lot of moving parts, and it's imperative for any new ownership to have a clear plan to execute. A major component of the early development of this ethos was Ralf Rangnick, who was the director of football for both Salzburg and Leipzig, and even went on to manage RB Leipzig in 2015. He instilled a mentality that was followed at all levels, from the youth to the starting 11. It's no understatement to suggest that Ralf Rangnick had an almost Johan Cruyff effect on all of Red Bull's footballing activities. From Nagelsmann to Marco Rose, RB Leipzig's managers all credit Rangnick as an influence on how they want their teams to play football. In fact, this style of football has now made its way to the national team level, with Julian Nagelsmann now in a head coaching role. In 2019, Rangnick took over footballing operations for the entire brand, helping raise the profile of the New York Red Bulls as well as securing the acquisition of Red Bull Bragantino. Alongside other key members of the club, Rangnick has raised the value of the clubs from 120 million euros to 1.2 billion and beyond. RB Leipzig had to be privy with the spending to ensure that they followed financial regulations. And an effective way to go about this was developing talent from within. It has been an integral part of the operation, and we had the chance to sit down and speak with their academy manager to find out more.
So through this project, you build bridges between the age groups, and I think through this also culture grows, because that's also interesting in the Red Bull cosmos. There are 3 main values we also use for Leipzig. So it's mastery, become the best in the thing you are doing. It's freedom and responsibility. So you can make decisions, and if they're wrong, we don't point with the finger on you. So we're looking in the process to become together better, and it's meaning. So what is my role, and how much do I pay into this goal? And I think these 3 Red Bull values we can also use in football. But the most thing I'm proud is that so many guys are following the change process, and we've got so good employees and players here. So I think we've got a great future.
They see youth as the way forward, not just for the progression of the team, but the sustainability of the club. Their training ground and youth facilities are vast and impressive, using cutting-edge technology to monitor the development of the academy players. Even the youth team gym faces the first team, which naturally creates a team environment fueled by competition and accountability. The complex is split into 2 so the academy players can see where they could be if they step up. Simply put, it's a great motivator. It isn't just the youth ranks that have helped Leipzig compete while spending less. The network of other clubs at their disposal allows prominent talent to develop at clubs like New York Red Bulls or Salzburg before making the move to the German outfit. Notable transfers like Dominik Szoboszlai moved to Leipzig from Salzburg, or Tyler Adams, a local in the New York Red Bulls academy who then went on to captain the first team before representing RB Leipzig. This offers Leipzig worldwide access to recruit some of the most promising players in Europe, in North America, even South America for a fraction of the initial price, which partially negates some risk while also providing better profit margins as players naturally move between organizations and leagues. The same is now happening with one of their current key players, Benjamin Sesko. Whilst at the club will undoubtedly want to keep the forward, rumors have started to circulate of a 53 million euro fee with Arsenal, which would be a huge profit from a player they recently acquired from Salzburg for just 24 million euros. If you'd like to do some quick math. These types of transfers are helping RB Leipzig thrive economically, as they're able to reinvest those profits into the club and into the development. They have a conveyor belt of talent and will continue receiving these financial injections as they aspire to challenge for titles both domestically and in Europe. When you buy raw talent or young up-and-coming players, you typically pay less. And after some development, some progression, you're able to sell for a higher fee. Or they stay with the organization and you have your next pieces of the puzzle that came through the program. And I quote, "We are not willing to pay an enormous amount of money for so-called football stars. We want to find and develop the stars of tomorrow." Timo Werner, Naby Keita both come to mind. Examples of this model as they were bought for reasonable fees before being sold for an astronomical one. And if you're looking to go against the grain, one could argue there was an exception with Lois Openda, who was bought at a relatively high fee. But his development, and equally as important, his performance has been prime time. If RB Leipzig decided to sell, they would once again have a profitable transfer. We know how Red Bull has created a football empire, but maybe the question is, why? Red Bull is a marketing machine. Everything they do is to get the name of Red Bull out there. Every club in the Red Bull family wears the same kit colors, the same branding, the same team name. We love some continuity. I might have a bias. Look around the room. And with RB Leipzig in particular, the city feels revamped via the club. The organization enriches and offers opportunity to the locals and the community in Leipzig. They regularly sell out their impressive 41,000-seater stadium, and fans can feel that connection. Having personally attended multiple RB Leipzig fixtures, I've always noticed that the amount of families attending Leipzig matches is unusual compared to football matches that I've seen both stateside and across Europe. Even just going around the city of Leipzig before the game, you witness the holistic integration of the organization with the people of the city. They are proud to have a club that is not only competing in the Bundesliga, but qualifying for the Champions League every single year, allowing fans the chance to follow their team across Europe, something that would have only been a pipe dream 15 years ago. And with a constantly improving squad, naturally, there's an increase of interest and tourism coming to Leipzig year on year. Since the pandemic, the city has just continued to grow and continued to strive. And Red Bull as a brand has done the same, with growth each year, including an impressive 10.5 billion in revenue recorded last year alone. It has been a marketing strategy for decades to become a household name in sports, and thanks to some words of wisdom from Franz Beckenbauer, the company has made its leap into football and has never turned back. As mentioned earlier, with the steadily increasing valuation the Red Bull footballing operation now has, they have become a force in the sport, and other brands are looking to do the same. Looking to the future, Red Bull has no signs of stopping as they double down on their growth and are already knocking at the door, topping the Bundesliga pyramid. Bayern Munich might eventually lose their top spot thanks to their very own legend of the game. With a worldwide network discovering the best young players on the planet and a clear ethos and style of play, it would be no surprise to see Red Bull take over football in the near future.